It was a performance for the ages and one that put Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir in the record books. The Canadian ice dancers gracefully took gold on day 11 in Pyeongchang. The duo went into Monday night's free dance in top spot, but they knew they had to be at their very best if they hoped to beat France's Gabriela Papadakis and Guillaume Ciceron. Moir and Virtue rose to the occasion with a thrilling and record-setting performance. It's their second Olympic ice dance title and their third gold medal overall. Disappointment for Canada in women's curling. They will not win a medal at the Games. Skip Rachel Lahoman and her team were knocked out of contention by Great Britain after struggling throughout the Games. Now, the adventures of TSN's Jay Onrait and Dan O'Toole continue in Pyeongchang. Guys, great of you to join us once again. The bad news for the curlers sinking in, but still a lot of excitement over that performance on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. It's so funny because going into these games, you would have said that Rachel Homan-Rink would have been one of Canada. You would have, at very least, Scott, assumed they would have been on the podium in some capacity. The concept of them not even making it to the medal round is really unfathomable. But as you mentioned, that's basically one of the only blemishes of these games for Team Canada. It's turning out to be sensational all around. And obviously, Tessa and Scott is the big story.
Yeah, this is an iconic duo together for 20 years. And these are now athletes that kids will be learning about in school now for the rest of time in Canada. Because I remember learning about Gaetan Boucher, his exploits in the Olympics. Now these are modern day athletic, or make that Olympic legends that we are witnessing here in Pyeongchang.
And Scott, you alluded to it, that they had to not only be great in the free dance at the end, they had to have their best ever international performance, because nothing less than that would have gotten them the gold, and that's exactly what they delivered. So everyone assuming that this is probably the way they'll go out and retire and turn professional. Not much better way to end their career, that's for sure.
We now know the definition of too perfect. It is them for sure. Cassie Sharp now, gold in the halfpipe.
Yeah, this is an amazing story too, Scott, because Sarah Burke, Canadian halfpipe skier who passed away tragically in a training run a couple of years ago, she was instrumental in getting this event into the Sochi Olympic Games, but was never able to compete in that event because she passed away. And Cassie Sharp paid tribute to her after she won her gold medal in the ski halfpipe, saying, without Sarah, this doesn't happen. So it's like Dan said, you know, it's another Olympian, you know, in an unfortunate, tragic fashion, but paving the way for more Canadian Olympians to be successful in an event like this. Cassie's from Comox, so just another great story.
Yeah, and Cassie, this is a dominant performance in which she finished 2 points ahead of the silver medalist. That's unheard of in this competition. Her final run was essentially, she could do anything she wanted. She was that far ahead.
You know, I was looking at her interviews after her performance, and she looks so young. It seems like she could dominate in her sport for a while.
It seems that way, yeah. And that's, you know, it's not just that sport. We were lucky enough to have Alex Beaulieu-Marchand on the show yesterday. He won bronze in the ski slopestyle. And another young kid, and so well-spoken. You talk about Cassie. So as far as Canada's freestyle skiers are concerned, things are looking very positive for the next games in Beijing.
And when he came to our set, his story, if you get a chance, make sure you look it up. Overcoming injuries, the last being a concussion. He said that's still on the back of his mind now. And his training run was the X Games in January for the Olympics. So his tune-up was a month before the Olympics, and he hits the podium here.
45 seconds left here. You know, for the longest time, I thought Reunification Park was your new studio down the hall, but you found another one.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the footage is unbelievable. You know, Scott, of course, the Korean War is a war that's obviously deeply affected this country in the sense that it never really ended. There was an armistice, and the two countries are very much at odds. But what a fascinating piece of history we were able to visit at the park yesterday. You just saw briefly, this is the submarine, a North Korean submarine that crashed into South Korea. They were there were spies on board. They captured most of them, and actually one of them One of the spies now teaches at a South Korean naval academy. He defected to South Korea. But this submarine was just fascinating to see. And then we saw a bunch of Korean warplanes as well.
And after being in a submarine, I will never complain about the CTV cafeteria ever again.
Right. I mean, the cozy confines of it.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. Or the latrines.
There you
or
go.
the CTV latrines, Scott.
Jay and Dan, enjoy your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott.